Hello and welcome to In the Court of the Wenton Knave. We're reaching the final stretch, sadly. But before the grand finale, we have a run of live releases, significantly. The You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore series. Obviously Frank had talked about doing large box sets of live stuff and various different things throughout his career. There was a plan for a 10 record set in the 60s. Some of that ended up on Burnt Winnie Sandwich and Weasels Rip My Flesh. There's also obviously the whole leather debacle. There was Crucial Boxes, and finally we got to the point where he actually properly released an actual live set. Quite cleverly released as a series over time though, so it wasn't released altogether. There was however a proper box you could put them in apparently, which came with 5 and 6 when 5 came out, which sadly seems to be out of print, so I haven't got that. At the end of the 88 tour, Frank was a little despondent about touring. More on that later. But this is possibly where the title and the idea of it came from. You can't do that on stage anymore. Obviously the object was to sort of put an end to this part of his career at this point. I think he wanted to, obviously he was moving on to new things, and this was the end of live touring. He'd had enough of live touring. I mean, the 82 and the 84 and the 88 tours were problematic in many ways, despite the fantastic music. So I think that's where that title came from. Sadly it became quite prophetic and much more meaningful towards the end of the series when Zappa was diagnosed with cancer. So we have 12 CDs worth of live material spanning right the way from 65 up to 88. It is a fantastic series. It really is. There is perhaps more of an emphasis on the fun stuff than the mega technical stuff. I think because of its nature, because the idea is finding things, particularly interesting things to release, sometimes splicing different bands together in one song, sometimes, not necessarily the best sounding recording of that particular song, but a historic moment with a particular band member who was there at the time and things like that, as opposed to releasing whole concerts, but more on that next week. Although it's a 12 CD set and obviously there's 6 parts of 2 discs, it is in a way a 20 disc set before the grand finale, because we also have 5 CDs worth of 88 band albums, and also another 3 CDs of other archival stuff, Flo and Eddie album and a 69 band album. So to me that all goes together, and it all came chronologically, it all came together as well, so that goes together for me. But this is You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore Volume 1. So track 1 is the Florida Airport Tape. This is dialogue from 200 Motels. It's the stuff about Frank makes you a creep. If you want to be a success, you've got to sing the blues or sing in a high voice. And that weird voice that guy's putting on, it's quite funny. Track 2 is Once Upon a Time. Now these 2 tracks, track 2 and 3, are the first section of the Sofa Suite. Now everybody knows Sofa from One Size Fits All. It was actually a Flo and Eddie song, but it was actually a suite of tracks which also included Stick It Out, which ended up on Joe's Garage, which had to be sort of crowbarred into the story to make it make sense, but more logically goes with Sofa because it's in a different language, and a track called Divon. More on that when we get to it. But this suite was actually played on the Smoke on the Water concert, the one at Montreux, when it burnt down and it destroyed all of their equipment. So this particular concert here, these 2 tracks are actually recorded from the Rainbow show after that, where they were using borrowed equipment. So it's interesting that there's quite a lot of that concert is available. I imagine you could splice together near a complete show of that. I don't know how much. And obviously it was that Rainbow show which ended the touring of that period, obviously, which in the end wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Track 4 is the Mammy Anthem from Them or Us. I'm not a fan of Them or Us, obviously. It's an okay riff. It is better live than on the album. Apparently this was from a European concert in 84. Track 5 is You Didn't Try to Call Me, from Ruben and the Jets, also on Freak Out. This is a sort of more elaborate arrangement. I think it's a better arrangement from 1980. This for me is far and away better. You've got better singers, better arrangement. It's great stuff. Track 6, Diseases of the Band. This is also 79, and this is where Zappa introduced the band. I think traditionally he would introduce the band at the end of the concert, which I quite enjoy, especially when he says, "Oh, I've forgotten who you are, but you've been in the band for some time." But here he introduces the band at the start of the concert by listing their diseases. So here is Ray White. He's got whatever it was. I think someone has got aluminium finger. Sorry, aluminum finger. Aluminum. Track 7 trying to grow a chin. Great song, really heavy doo-wop, which I really like, riffy stuff. This is Denny Wally singing though, so which is a bit different. I imagine why it's interesting, because it's someone else singing it. He flubs the words a little bit in the middle, so it's a nice, interesting, different version. Track 8, we've got a little 3.5 minute medley of Let's Make the Water Turn Black, Harry You're a Beast, and Orange County Lumber Truck, all instrumental, and much better instrumental. I love Let's Make the Water Turn Black. I think that is such a great tune. It's so much better when you've got instrumental and it's emphasising the melody rather than words. We don't have words here. Track 9 is the Groupie Routine. Some people would know this as Do You Like My New Car, because when this was done for the Film or East album, that was what the track was called, but they did this every concert, the thing where they pretend they're groupies. This is effectively that, but on the Just Another Band from LA concert. Track 10, we're on to the Roxy band now. We've got Ruthie Ruthie, which is the first of 2 versions of Louie Louie on this album. I think that the vocals were written by Napoleon. I don't know if they were improvised or whether he wrote them beforehand. Probably wrote them beforehand, about something Ruth Underwood was involved with, as you do. Then we've got Babbette, still with the Roxy band. It's just a great bit of doo-wop. I like it. You can see why it wasn't put on albums, but you know. Then number 12 is the same band doing a good version of On the Slime. Not the best version. I think the best version is on Zappa in New York. Well, on the remaster of Zappa in New York. Track 13 is Big Swifty. This is a great version of Big Swifty. I particularly like this one, the Roxy version of Big Swifty. It's fast. If you like it fast, it's a good version. Not as good as the 88 band version, but still brilliant. Track 14 is possibly the big drawing point of this particular album. Is the full Don't Eat the Yellow Snow suite, ending with Rolo, which wasn't on the album for whatever reason. And he seemed to add bland songs instead of leaving Rolo on there. I do really like Rolo. A bit of the theme is on the album, but on St Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast. But Rolo itself was also played at the Orchestral Favourites concert as well. So, and that's available, I think, on Quadrophiliac, or one of those albums. That's disc 1. Disc 2 is Plastic People from Absolutely Free, although this is the Louie Louie music to the lyrics of Plastic People, so it's taking it back to Louie Louie. I really like that. It's the 69 band doing it. And there's some funny stuff at the start of Zappa making announcements. He had to say there is a green Chevy parked in the car park, and something about, if you like burgers, try the burgers here at this bar or something. And apparently it was a pretty depressing time. It's strange that 69 is seen as one of the high points of his band, of all his bands, and yet they were having a miserable time touring, horrible bars, and the audience didn't like them and all that stuff. Track 2 on disc 2 is The Torture Never Stops. This is the 77 band doing it with Ballou, with Adrian Ballou. A really good version, 15 minutes. Blows the album version away. Don't bother with the album version. Track 3 is Fine Girl from Tinseltown. Not my favourite track on Tinseltown. I don't think it's as good live, actually, so it's just mildly interesting. 82 band. Track 4 is Zomby Woof. Great version. The 80s versions of Zomby Woof are much better than the 70s versions, actually. 82 band, 84 band, and 88 band all did it fantastically. Apparently, this was a horrible concert where they were getting, somewhere in Europe, they were getting used syringes thrown on the stage at them. They had a really miserable time. The 82 band are amazing. We'll talk about that in a few weeks, obviously. But it was not an easy time by the sounds of things. Track 5 is Sweet Leilani, which is 69 band, and it's a Bing Crosby theme. He didn't write it, obviously, but it's famous from Bing Crosby singing something. It's a nice bit of parody, actually. I quite like that, but very quickly changes into some improvisation. The 69 band were great at the really kind of modern jazz freeform, crazy improvisation. They were really good at that, and some great stuff on there. That goes straight into Oh No at the same concert, and again, Oh No is better without the lyrics, without the vocals. It's instrumental. Obviously, Oh No is part of Lumpy Gravy, and Lumpy Gravy is something much more special than just Oh No, but still, we've got a normal version of Oh No that's just instrumental, which is great. 7, though, is Be In My Video, and we fast forward right to 84. This is actually from the Does Humour Belong in Music DVD, or video, which is different recordings and different track list to the album Does Humour Belong in Music. I quite like Be In My Video, but I like it live. It's much better live than the version on Them or Us. Then we've got the Deathless Horsie. This isn't on the video, and I don't know why, because it is a fantastic version of the Deathless Horsie. I think that's the best one. Better than the one on Shut Up and Play Guitar. Then the same concept, we've got the Dangerous Kitchen, which is on the DVD. I like that version of Dangerous Kitchen. I don't think everybody likes it, but I like it. You don't get the guitar following the vocal line, obviously, because it's live and Steve Vai isn't there. But still, any Dangerous Kitchen is better than no Dangerous Kitchen. Track 10, 11 and 12 are live versions of Dumb All Over, Heavenly Bank Account and Suicide Chump. We've got that nice little section there. These are easily better versions than the versions on You Are What You Is. That's the highlight of You Are What You Is, played better. So that's another real highlight of this album. Then track 13 is Tell Me You Love Me. This is the 82 band playing it, and for once I think the Flo and Eddie band played this better. The 82 band played it very differently, very much faster. The same in 84 I think as well. And that's good, it's a sort of turbocharged version, but I think the sort of real dirty R&B of Flo and Eddie suited the song better. I think the Flo and Eddie version's better. The album ends with Sofa Number 2, Instrumental Sofa. What an album. Particularly like this one, partially because it was one of my early albums I bought. But it's a nice little mixture. Maybe not so much of the complex stuff, but that's okay. Great album. See you next time.